A very good afternoon to you. This is TV Sapienza on Star Times Channel 260. Today is Thursday, the 5th of June 2025. My name is Joe Ibo. In our news headlines this afternoon, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has published the final list of candidates for the November 8, 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the immediate release of 2 billion naira for the reconstruction of all houses affected by flood in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. The Anambra State Emergency Management Agency SEMA has warned residents of the state against indiscriminate dumping of refuse and blockage of drainage channels in an effort to mitigate the impact of flooding. And from our foreign desk, Donald Trump has signed a ban on travel to the United States from 12 countries in a bid to protect Americans from what he described as dangerous foreign actors. Now the details of the news. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has published the final list of candidates for the November 8, 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. In a statement signed by its spokesperson, Sam Olumekun, INEC said that a total of 16 political parties uploaded the particulars of their candidates from EC9 for the election scheduled for November 8, 2025. He said that with the publication, no further withdrawal or replacement of candidates will be entertained except in the event of the death of a candidate or running mate before the election. INEC noted that the deadline for the submission of candidates' particulars was 6 p.m. on Monday, May 12, 2025, but added that political parties were empowered by the Electoral Act 2022 to replace their candidates who voluntarily withdraw from the race until June 2nd. According to the Electoral Commission, 16 out of the 19 political parties registered for the election are participating, out of which the African Action Congress or AAC and the National Rescue Movement NRM nominated female candidates, while 6 parties are fielding female running mates. They are Accord A, All Progressives Congress APC, Action People's Party APP, Boot Party BP, Labour Party LP, and Zenith Labour Party ZLP. INEC said the full list of the candidates by party, age, gender, and academic qualifications has been uploaded to their website and social media platforms for public information. INEC also stated that political parties were at liberty to start their public electioneering campaigns from Wednesday, June 11, 2025, and end at midnight on Thursday, 6th November 2025. The Commission also warned political parties, candidates, and their supporters against the use of abusive language, physical attacks on opponents during rallies, processions, and meetings, or destroying their campaign materials. The statement further notes that Section 95, Subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2022 prohibits the use of incumbency to the advantage or disadvantage of any party or candidate. 6 persons, including a mother and her sons, have been arraigned before a chief magistrate's court in Akure, the Ondo State capital, for allegedly attacking the vice principal of Complete Child Development Center, Temidayong Rotifa. The defendants, Magdalene Elisha, 50, her son, Collins Elisha, 17, and 4 others, identified as Wisdom Elisha, 17, Kennedy Elisha, 35, Osareti Osesa, 42, and Dorcas Ajise, 55, were arraigned on 10 counts of conspiracy, assault occasioning harm, threat to life, breach of the public peace, impersonation, and attempted murder. The defendants had a few days ago allegedly stormed the school over the confiscating of Wisdom's Android phone during the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASI. The prosecutor told the court how the defendants beat the vice principal to a pulp, even in the presence of police officers who tried to intervene in the matter. Days after floods devastated several communities in Mokwa local government area of Niger State, victims at makeshift camps have continued to voice deep frustration over handling of relief efforts. It will be recalled that the flood caused by torrential rains last Thursday led to the death of over 200 persons, with more still missing, while property worth millions of naira were also destroyed. Consequently, over 1,000 people, including women and children, now live in temporary internally displaced persons or IDP camps. Investigation at some of the affected communities revealed frustration and disappointment of the victims, especially over lack of adequate food supplies and poor camp conditions. Many displaced residents lamented that although they were photographed with food items by authorities and relief personnel, they were not given the supplies. One of the victims, Mama Issa, said 17 people in her household were given only one loaf of bread and some tea, which was not even enough for their breakfast. She appealed to the government to allow well-meaning individuals and organizations support them directly without interference or diversion. Another victim, Rukaiya Usman, echoed similar concerns, criticizing the quantity of food being distributed, adding that they feel forgotten. The victims also complained about the condition of the camps, describing them as unsuitable for human habitation, with no toilet facilities, access to clean drinking water, and prone to diseases. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the immediate release of 2 billion naira for the reconstruction of all houses affected by flood in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. The president has also ordered a swift release of 20 trucks of rice to be given to the victims. Kashim Shettima, the vice president, stated this during his visit to Mokwa yesterday. Senator Shettima assured the people that they were a priority for President Tinubu as he is making frantic efforts to address all the issues affecting them. The vice president maintained that the president also directed that the affected bridges in the area be repaired immediately, as well as the immediate rehabilitation of drainage in Mokwa town. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had earlier activated the National Emergency Response Center and directed federal agencies to provide immediate relief to the victims. The Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, has announced that the state government is taking effective measures to address the flood threat expected during the current 2025 rainy season. It could be recalled that the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, or NIMET, has warned on the possibility of heavy flooding between April and November this year across various states in the country, including Anambra. Speaking to newsmen in Oka, the executive director of the Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Paul Odenibo, said the state has prepared relief materials to assist those who may be affected by the expected flood in the state. Odenibo emphasized the need for the public to contribute to flood prevention efforts by constructing drainage ditches and culverts and preventing the dumping of waste in waterways across the 21 local government areas of the state. The SEMA boss said the government has set up temporary camps for emergencies that might arise, as well as commenced sensitization of residents and desilting of drainages in flood-prone communities. He listed the establishment of holding centers and sensitization of residents of flood-prone communities as some measures put in place by the Anambra State government. He said committees have been set up to fashion out modalities to ensure residents of flood-prone areas are not taken unawares by the deluge, while also putting different holding centers at different locations in proper conditions to ensure they are conducive for accommodating as many victims as possible. The Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mba has transmitted an executive bill to the Enugu State House of Assembly to checkmate criminal activities among native doctors, herbalists, and related persons in the state. The proposed legislation also outlaws money rituals, otherwise known as okite, and criminal bulletproof charms, otherwise known as odeshi. It equally outlaws illegal use or occupation of forests and property for criminal activities. The governor noted that every person who engages in the practice of rendering of spiritual services within the state, whether as a native doctor, herbalist, spiritualist, chief priest, diviner, SEA, or by any other traditional or spiritual title or designation, shall be registered with the ministry, department, or agency of the state as may be designated by the governor for the purpose. Practicing without registration will attract a fine of not less than 1 million naira and not more than 5 million naira or 2 years in prison or both. Impact Development Initiative, or KDI, has flagged off a 2-day training and development program for long-term election monitors ahead of 2025 Anambra Off-Cycle elections. The training, which is holding at Chikotel Classic Hotel, Oka, had the facilitator KDI Freeman Ugochi disclose that the training is part of the Nigeria Election Violence Education and Resolution, or NEVA training project, a national initiative aimed at addressing the risks of election violence through proactive civic engagement and conflict-sensitive observation. The senior programs officer KDI Mercy IBM stated that the training is designed to equip participants with practical skills to track pre-election violence indicators, assess election-related security risks, and deliver real-time incident reports that can guide timely interventions by security agencies and election stakeholders. Program Manager Elections Umadan Asabe Mohammed spoke on monitoring election violence, how to identify early warning signs of violence, and monitor election-related incidents. Head Research and Strategy KDI Luafemi Adebayo, who handled NEVA monitors reporting checklist and tools, emphasized on the standardized reporting templates and digital tools used in the field, while encouraging journalists to report efficiently. Participants, however, expressed satisfaction on the journey so far and promised to put what they learned to good use. Over the years, KDI has positioned itself as a leading democratic research organization in Nigeria, with both trained field researchers and non-partisan citizen monitors nationwide. The Ondo State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, sitting in Akure, has upheld the election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of the All Progressives Congress (APC), confirming his victory in the November 16, 2024 gubernatorial election. The three-member panel, led by Justice Benson Ogbu, delivered a unanimous verdict dismissing the petitions filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) candidate Abola Ajayi and other parties. The tribunal ruled that allegations of widespread irregularities and non-compliance with the Electoral Act were not proven. Speaking with newsmen after the judgment, Governor Aiyedatiwa expressed gratitude to God and to the people of Ondo State. He said that the tribunal's decision reaffirmed the will of the electorate, calling on opposition parties to join him in transforming Ondo State. Counsel to PDP, Mr. Olujimi Olusheye, said his client's next decision will be made public soon. Now this foreign news. Donald Trump has signed a ban on travel to the United States from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Haiti, and Iran, in a bid to protect Americans from what he described as dangerous foreign actors. There are an additional 7 countries whose nationals face partial travel restrictions, including Cuba and Venezuela. The proclamation echoes an order from Trump's first term in 2017, when he announced a ban on travel from 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. The travel ban, which comes into effect on June 9th, fulfills a promise Trump made during his 2024 election campaign and is likely to draw swift legal challenges. To end the Sapiencia news at 1 p.m., a recap of the major headlines. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has published the final list of candidates for the November 8, 2025 governorship election in Anambra State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the immediate release of 2 billion naira for the reconstruction of all houses affected by flood in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. The Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, or SEMA, has warned residents of the state against indiscriminate dumping of refuse and blockage of drainage channels in an effort to mitigate the impact of flooding. And finally, from our foreign desk, Donald Trump has signed a ban on travel to the United States from 12 countries in a bid to protect Americans from what he described as dangerous foreign actors. That was the Sapientia TV news at 1 p.m. On behalf of the editorial and technical crew, I am Joe Igbo. Good afternoon and thanks for choosing TV Sapientia.